Stop memorizing rules. Speak English with ears, not eyes. Grammar is the biggest reason you still cannot speak English, even after 10 years of studying. I learned that the hard way. One morning, I sat in a small cafe watching two students practice English. The first girl spoke fast and free. Her words were not perfect, but her thoughts flowed like music. The second one looked down at her notebook. Every time she tried to speak, she froze. I could see her lips moving, whispering grammar rules under her breath. The first girl looked alive. The second looked trapped. I smiled quietly because that used to be me. I knew every rule. I passed every test. But when someone asked me a simple question, my mind went blank. The more I studied grammar, the less I could speak. Welcome to Learn English Listening. I am Lydia. Years ago, I believed grammar was the key to fluency. I built my world around rules. But later, I realized those rules were a cage. Before we begin, tell me, which city are you joining us from and what hour is it there? I love to know where my listeners are around the world. Today, I want to show you something that changed everything for me. You were told that grammar is the path to English, but it is not. Grammar belongs to the head. Listening belongs to the heart. When I stopped studying grammar and started listening, I began to feel the language, the sound, the rhythm, the life inside it. I discovered something I call effortless learning, and it is the only way to speak English like a native. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you will not just understand English grammar, you will feel it. For many years, I filled notebooks with grammar charts. Every line was covered with red corrections. Every mistake felt like a wound teachers told me to memorize, so I memorized everything. But the more I tried to be perfect, the smaller I became. I remember sitting alone at my desk. The clock ticked loudly on the wall. I repeated the same phrase again and again. He is gone. He went. He goes. My head hurt. My heart felt tired. I thought maybe if I study one more hour, I will finally sound fluent. But nothing changed. Then one day, I made a simple mistake. I said, "He go to school yesterday." The whole class laughed. My face burned. From that day, I decided to stay silent. I told myself, better quiet than wrong. Have you ever carried that fear? The fear of sounding wrong in English, the fear that someone will laugh at you, the fear that one mistake means you are not good enough. Millions of learners feel the same. They can write essays. They can explain grammar rules. But when it is time to speak, their voices disappear. Because grammar lives in the head, but English lives in the ear. It is not your fault. You were taught to think about English, not to feel it. You were trained to remember rules, not to hear rhythm. I used to believe that perfect grammar would save me, but perfection is a trap. You spend your whole life fixing sentences instead of living through them. Then one day, I discovered something different, something that made me forget the rules and remember the music. It did not come from a book. It came from a story that changed everything. Let me show you what I found. Children never study grammar, yet they speak perfectly. Why? Because they listen to stories. That truth hit me like lightning. It is called the point of view story method. One simple story told from different times, past, present, future. That is all. Let me give you an example. Imagine a traveler walking through the rain. In the past, we say, he was hungry, so he ate. In the present, he is hungry, so he eats. In the future, he will be hungry and he will eat. Same story, different times. As you listen, something happens inside you. You begin to pick up grammar naturally. You do not even try. You just feel it. The phrase pick up naturally means to learn something without effort. When you listen, you are not forcing your brain, you are feeding it. After a few days, you start to get the hang of it. That means you begin to understand how English works, not by rules, but by rhythm. Then, little by little, the patterns let it sink in. This phrase means the language slowly becomes part of your memory. You stop thinking, you start speaking. I remember listening to one simple story every night, first in the past, then in the present, then in the future. Without realizing it, my brain was learning grammar the same way children do. You do not need to analyze, you do not need to memorize. You just need to understand the story, the time, the feeling. When I began this method, something shifted. I could feel English move inside me like music. I could hear the difference between was and is without looking at a rule. That was the hidden key. Listening builds rhythm, and rhythm builds fluency. I stopped using grammar books. I stopped writing rules. Instead, I listened. 10 minutes every morning, 10 minutes before sleep. I did not plan it. I just let it happen. At first, it felt strange. My mind wanted to analyze every word, but I reminded myself to relax, to listen like a child. I listened to stories, to conversations, to songs. I did not worry about tenses or structures. One morning, something unexpected happened. I was walking to work when a tourist stopped me and asked for directions in English. Before I could even think, I answered. Naturally, easily, correctly. It just clicked. The phrase click into place means something suddenly makes sense. It felt like a door had opened inside my head. All the patterns I once forced myself to remember were now alive in my voice. I could feel the rhythm. That day, I realized I had finally broken free from my old fear. The phrase break free from means to escape something that holds you back. I had escaped my perfectionism. I had escaped the grammar cage. I was no longer chasing perfect sentences. I was living them. I was not studying English anymore. I was breathing it. Is there one habit you would like to break free from? Maybe translating every word, maybe judging yourself too harshly, maybe giving up too quickly. When you stop chasing control, you start feeling connection. That is the beauty of listening. It teaches you to trust your ears. It teaches you to believe that fluency grows in silence before it appears in speech. When I spoke to that tourist, I did not just speak English. I spoke freedom. That moment was small, but it changed everything. Every mistake you make is not failure. It is music. Every word you hear is not noise. It is a seed. When you listen each day, it may seem slow. You may not see progress right away, but something is growing underneath. Just like a tree takes time to rise from the soil, your English is growing quietly in your heart. Listening trains your ears. It shapes your sense of rhythm. Grammar begins to grow by itself, like roots spreading underground. You do not need to control it. You only need to feed it with sound, patience, and joy. Tomorrow morning, when you drink your coffee, press play. Listen with me for 10 minutes. Let English grow inside you. Do it again the next day and the next. Do not count hours. Count moments of joy. Count the times you understood a phrase without translation. Count the moments you smiled because it finally made sense. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are blooming in your own rhythm. Remember, fluency is not about perfection. It is about connection. It is not about how many words you know. It is about how deeply you hear. Your journey begins not with grammar books, but with ears that are ready to listen. You have walked with me from fear to freedom, from silence to sound, from rules to rhythm. Do not chase grammar. Chase understanding. Listen until your heart understands before your head does. Now, I will leave you with a choice. At this moment, you stand between comfort and growth. Will you keep studying rules, or will you start listening like a native? Thousands of learners around the world are listening with us every day. You are not alone. Somewhere right now, another learner is drinking coffee, pressing play, and learning through sound. Just like you. If this video gave you hope, share it with someone who still feels trapped by grammar. Leave a comment and tell me your choice: comfort or growth. Subscribe to Learn English Listening to keep walking with us on this journey of English and confidence. Because tomorrow, I will share the next step, the secret to rhythm, the sound that makes your English flow. See you tomorrow, same time, same coffee, same rhythm.